Charlie Luciano, known to the world as Lucky Luciano, is an iconic figure in the history of organized crime. Born Salvatore Lucania in Ercara Fridi, November 24, 1997, this Italian mafia figure left an indelible mark on the so-called American Cosa Nostra. Through the complex legal journey in the United States, Lucania officially became Charlie Luciano. This nickname was given to him after an extraordinary event on the 16th of October, 1929. The stranger stabbed him repeatedly, leaving him on a Staten Island beach with his throat slashed, convinced he was dead. But against all odds, Luciano survived, earning the nickname Lucky, the Fortunate One. His influence in the world of organized crime reached new heights when, with cunning and vision, he held the traditional role of boss of bosses and introduced the commission among the 5 families of New York. This innovative move earned him the title of father of modern organized crime. Salvatore Lucania, originally from Lercara Fridi, a charming village in the province of Palermo known for its sulfur mines. He was born on the 24th of November, 1897, son of Antonio Lucani and Rosalia Caffarelli. His destiny was shaped in a context rich with traditions and challenges deeply rooted. In 1905, the adventurous Lucania family embarked on an epic journey to the United States of America. However, their arrival was not without drama. At Ellis Island's entrance, the young savior was struck by the diagnosis of smallpox, a shadow that would indelibly mark the course of his life. Despite the adversity, he embraced the new land and, becoming a United States citizen in the process, renounced his original Italian citizenship. In the years following their arrival in New York, the Lucanias found refuge in the Lower East Side, near the Jewish Quarter. In this context, Lucania's life turned into an adventure full of challenges, unfolding on the streets of the Big Apple. This is where Salvatore, known as Charlie, formed a crucial bond with the young Meyer Lansky, starting a friendship that was destined to shape both of their futures. Together, they formed a gang specialized in bullying classmates and extorting a daily penny, considered a form of protection. Charlie Luciano's childhood was marked by incidents. In 1907, at only 10 years old, he was sentenced to 4 months in a reformatory for theft. His run-ins with the law continued until the age of 18, when he faced a 6-month sentence for illegal possession of heroin and morphine, exploring both sides of the drug world. Joining the feared 5 Points gang under the leadership of Johnny Torrio, Luciano had the chance to meet prominent figures like Frank Costello and Al Capone, establishing connections destined to leave an indelible mark in criminal history. During this period, Charlie Luciano decided to drop the name Salvatore, deemed too feminine, so to adopt the Americanized identity of Charlie Luciano. The Prohibition-era in the 20s marks a turning point in Luciano's life. In 1920, he joined Arnold Rothstein, a Jewish gangster, forming a powerful team with Meyer Lansky, Frank Costello, Bugsy Siegel, Dax Schultz, and Jetslex Diamond. Taking advantage of the illegality of the alcohol trade, Luciano's crew supplied the speakeasies of Manhattan, smuggling in liquor from the port of New York. The following decade sees Luciano emerge as a central figure in the criminal organization, managing not only the alcohol traffic, but also the world of prostitution and gambling. The infamous nickname, "among the boys initiated into prostitution," testifies to his dominance in these spheres. His story continued in 1922, when as a killer, he took part in the assassination of Umberto Valenti, a bitter enemy of Joe Masseria. His descent continued, guided by his strategic skill and exceptional contact network. The peak of this period was the meeting in Atlantic City in 1929, where Luciano helped to shape common strategies for the division of bootlegging and laying the foundations for it, nationalcrimesyndicate. However, his luck took a downturn in the terrible event of October 16, 1929, when he was stabbed and left for dead. On Staten Island beach, his survival against all odds earned him the nickname Lucky, the Fortunate, a name that would follow him forever. The life of Charlie Luciano is a compelling intertwine of cunning, violence, and stratagems, a saga that has led him to be recognized as one of the main characters from the 20th century criminal world. In the turbulent scene of the Castellammaresewar of 1930-31, fought between Joe Masseria and Salvatore Maranzano, who is Lucky Luciano, the skilled leader of the American Cosa Nostra, inevitably became entwined with the events. Internal strife threatened the criminal businesses, leading Luciano to skillfully maneuver to protect his empire. The crucial moment happened on April 15, 1931, at Scarpato's restaurant in Coney Island, when Luciano orchestrated Masseria's assassination with a lethal group including Bugsy Siegel, Vito Genovese, Joe Adonis, and Albert Anastasia. This act shattered the criminal power summit, paving the way for new dynamics and consolidating Luciano's dominance. After Masseria's death, Luciano established a strategic truce with Maranzano, recognizing him as the boss of bosses and gaining control of the activities previously managed by the late Masseria. However, this alliance proved short-lived as Maranzano saw Luciano as a threat to his connections with non-Sicilian gangsters. He took the path of elimination. The plot thickened further on September 10, 1931, when Luciano and Genovese were summoned by Maranzano to Park Avenue, only to be attacked by 4 Jewish killers disguised as tax agents. In a twist of events, the killers, secretly hired by Luciano in collaboration with the Sicilian Mafia Gaetano Lucchese, they stabbed Maranzano, plotting his end. The legend of the Night of the Sicilian Vespers, an alleged massacre of 90 Sicilian mafiosos, is revealed as a myth. But history still records Luciano's consolidation of power. After Maranzano's death, Luciano took the leading role in organized crime in the United States. But he deliberately avoided being named boss of bosses to dodge a potential war with the rise of Al Capone. In his place, Luciano established the Commission, a body meant to govern our thing, dividing areas of expertise among the 5 New York families, Capone's Chicago outfit and Stefano Magadino's Buffalo family. This new order allowed other bosses to collaborate with non-Sicilian gangsters, giving rise to what would be called the National Crime Syndicate. Within his family, Luciano promoted his loyal Neapolitan and Calabrian lieutenants, appointing Vito Genovese as deputy boss and Frank Costello as consul, accompanied by Meyer Lansky and Johnny Torrio, in unofficial but highly influential roles. The strong independence between the New York families and the Chicago outfit emphasized Luciano's skill in weaving a network of alliances that would dominate the criminal underworld of the United States. Lucky Luciano, at the peak of his power, finds himself in the luxurious suite of the Waldorf Astoria Hotel, under the alias Charles Ross. Lover of luxury and a regular at exclusive venues, he surrounded himself with beautiful women and boasted friendships with famous figures like Frank Sinatra and George Raphael. His presence was notable even in Polly Adler's brothel, frequented by politicians, businessmen, judges, and gangsters. And in 1935, the rise of Thomas E. Dewey as Special Prosecutor of New York marked a turning point for Luciano. After confronting Dutch Schultz, Dewey focused on Luciano, calling him the Tsar of New York's organized crime. Legal pressure forced Luciano to flee to Hot Springs, Arkansas. In 1936, he was arrested for exploiting prostitution, based on the testimonies of prostitutes who claimed his leadership in a crime syndicate. Despite denials, Luciano was sentenced to 30 years in prison in June 1936 and transferred to the Dannemora Penitentiary. Behind the bars, he maintained control of his family through Vito Genovese. In 1937, Genovese had to flee the United States, leaving Frank Costello as the new boss. Continues to wield his power, now from behind the cold prison walls.
In 1947, Luciano returned to Italy and was imprisoned in Palermo. Released in May 1947, he settled in Capri and later in Naples, where he opened an appliance store. In the 40s, an investigation by Special Agent Charles Siragusa did not yield concrete evidence against Luciano. But cooperation with the financial police led to the seizure of drugs linked to the Lucchese family in New York. Despite the accusations, Luciano avoided indictment due to lack of concrete evidence. In 1952, Luciano was involved in a drug trafficking case, but once again, he dodged legal repercussions. He founded a confetti factory in Palermo in 1949, which became the subject of scandal in 1954. When the charge emerged that the confetti made by Luciano might have debris instead of almonds, the factory was closed the very night of the accusation. Italian authorities, on the advice of the Saragossa Council, revoked Luciano's passport in 1952 for public safety reasons. In 1951, Luciano was named in Senator Estes Kefauver's report as the international boss of the Mafia. In 1957, he took part in meetings between American and Sicilian mobsters in Palermo, raising suspicions of organizing drug trafficking. Shortly after the tragic death of his partner, Igea Lisuni, Lucky Luciano was approached by film producer Martin Gauch, eager to make a movie about the extraordinary life of the mobster. Previously, Luciano had proposed a similar project to Orson Welles. Together, Luciano and Gauch started working on a screenplay draft, but unexpectedly, Luciano changed his mind and requires the producer to dismiss the written material. They decided to meet at Naples Capodichino Airport on January 26, 1962, but unfortunately, Luciano had a heart attack on the spot and died at the age of 64. Luciano's funeral took place in Naples, at the Church of the Holy Trinity, with many people attending, including his friend Gio Adonis. Pesque, bow drawn by 8 black horses with plumes on their heads, was transported on a hearse. Subsequently, Luciano's body was transferred to the United States, where it was buried at St. John's Cemetery, in the Quinchins district. His death marked the end of an emblematic figure in the world of organized crime. Doesn't you follow in the Shingaren this curry through the life and honor of Lucky Luciano? If you like this video, don't forget to leave a like, yes, and a bye. Dimma, share, and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on the next insights. Keep following us to explore more stories and secrets behind the veil of Italian history. Vis-a-vis sayo in the next video.